We talking about hip hop, controversies, who got beef, no monster burger. You talking about it, we talking about it. Who am I? I'm just a monster worker.
All right, so great article in Complex Magazine. You know, they talk ATL versus LA. Who runs hip hop right now?
Be careful what you say, Jay.
Hey.
We're 5 minutes away from Compton, 7 minutes away from Watts. Be careful.
No, but this was a great article. I like how they broke it down.
It was really good.
agree.
It was actually really
But
good.
I want to get your thought. You know,
I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the last one to break it down.
I'll go first. In LA's corner, they have the two biggest, guns in artist, Kendrick, producer, Mustard. So you have to look at that and say, all right, well, these guys are the leading tastemakers right now for hip hop. So that's, 2 points in the LA corner. But it's like at the same time, like I feel like everything's still ATL centric because ATL has kind of earned that over the last, decade and a half, pretty much since what?
2001.
I was gonna say Stankonia.
Crunk Juice.
Since Stankonia.
Okay.
So
Well
I mean,
done, put 'em
so it's
back.
like it's gonna have to be wrestled away from them. LA's gonna have to do a little bit more work to take it away from them. I mean, LA's got it like right now, in the sense that they're making, waves, but ATL's still the reigning champ, I think.
So I don't disagree with that necessarily. I think so. This question was hard for me to answer because LA and Atlanta are two very different cities in how they approach music. LA is very much about their money. They're about making albums. They're about selling albums and marketing dollars and making people mainstream acts. Whereas Atlanta is about producing music that appeals to who lives in Atlanta, and sometimes that permeates out, and you get hits like from Young Thug, you get hits from
Waka Flocka,
from Waka, from Future, and so it's a different But there's a lot of mixtapes there. There's a lot of underground music that LA just doesn't really have like that. So for me, it was. My immediate thought was obviously LA runs things. Kendrick is here, YG is here, DJ Mustard is making everything that everyone loves. But then when you think about it on a larger scale, you hear that Atlanta has genuinely and thoroughly influenced what LA sounds like right now. So for me, I would have to say that while LA is monetarily ahead of Atlanta is the influence maker. So they win the game, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree. Okay, Atlanta, honestly, we can go back for 10 years to whatever to now, Atlanta has legitimately stayed the same. They sound the same. Waka Flocka sounds like Young Thug. Young Thug sounds like Future, even though it does spill out and you get a Chief Keef who comes out, or you might get a down south southern bass and sounds from DJ Mustard. They all sound the same. It's all very similar. It's homogeneous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but when you come to LA, you get somebody like Kendrick, right? And then there's no arguing how great
from
Kendrick
the same
is.
city, you have YG.
And you have from YG from the same city. Their albums, though they have very similar concepts, completely different albums.
And in how they approach
different
things.
sounds.
I agree with that.
Equally great, not equally great, but they're just as good. They're both really awesome. Yeah. So then, okay, we're still talking LA. Then you get to Odd Future.
Yep.
Then you get somebody to put down something that's really unorthodox. They don't really care about mainstream, but they also are able to garner this very big fan base from all over the world, from different sounds, from different colors. They're more diverse. They're actually doing more for hip hop than I would say than a Young Thug is doing, just because of their mass appeal.
Yeah.
I don't know, their underground mass appeal for that matter.
Sure.
Okay.
And then you have a Kid Ink who's a pop rapper.
And you have that as well. So and these are all coming from, this 30-mile, 25-mile radius of people who are able to do so many different things for the genre. Whereas Atlanta, you're all listening to the same people on the same station. You don't expect to hear Kendrick with Odd Future on the same Pandora station, but when you get to a Young Thug station, it's all the same thing. So I feel when you come from that, from that perspective, and you also talk about the money making that LA is able to do, there's no one able to do it, and even in New York right now, there's no one able to do what LA has done as far as diversifying the culture. People still come to LA to get on. People are still coming to LA, to put out dope tracks, to get with the best producers. So we're still holding it down. Like, we're still holding it down.
We're back.
We're
back.
Yeah.
I definitely disagree with Nick because nobody's coming out to LA for music. You know, nobody's coming out to LA for music. People that come out to LA are coming out to LA for other reasons.
Krayshawn came to LA for music.
And where's Krayshawn?
Mac Miller came to LA for music.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo,
Okay,
but you're
that's
talking
true.
about two people that are not currently on.
And that's what I was about to say.
Mac Miller's not on?
Mac Miller's a little bit
not on
on,
that level
but
yet.
he's not with.
Not
I
on
mean,
that
like
level
he
yet.
makes songs with Ariana Grande.
Yeah, but basically,
It's a killer hit.
No, I mean they're great songs. I'm just
Mac
saying
Miller's not
that's
on
a
that.
different level of
he's
hip
not on
hop.
that level yet. He's probably like a C artist. He's still a C artist.
Mac Miller has more money than Future, B.O.B., Young Thug.
No, he
I
doesn't.
think,
Yes,
I
he
think
does.
he's got to.
Mac Miller has
He's
more
all
money than
independent, 'cause
him.
he's
Then
independent.
B.O.B.?
He's
Come
independent.
on. Yes.
He's independent. Yeah,
Yes.
he's independent.
No, B.O.B.'s been out way longer than
Can we
that.
pull up the stats? Because somebody, I'm sure Mac Miller has
He's
more money
independent.
than
Yeah,
him.
I agree. Yeah.
Mac Miller though does have makes 98% of the money.
Yeah, he does.
Come on, man. He has more
but
money than
B.O.B.
him.
has sponsorship. What he's Adidas.
Adidas. Yeah.
Adidas, and he has what's the other one? He has one more. I don't know, but he's been out
Right,
longer. He's been out longer.
But the thing is,
gotta
though,
be making more
is
money.
like, I mean,
He has to be making more
bringing
money.
it back to the LA ATL argument is like, you know, looking into the crystal ball 5 years from now. I don't know who from Atlanta on the come up is going to be able to have a long enough career to keep
And see,
ATL,
that's
because like it should have been B.O.B. But let's be honest, he's cooled off, and it should have been Future. We'll have to see,
Yeah.
you know, where his career goes. But besides that, like,
None of them
are we going to hear
longevity.
from Migos in 5 years?
Yeah,
Probably
none
not.
of them
Are
are
we
showing
gonna hear
What
from-
happened to Gucci? What happened to Boosie? What even happened to Waka Flocka right
that's the thing
now?
about Atlanta. Atlanta still has black radio. Where they
Yeah.
have the black PDs, you know,
Yeah.
running the stations.
Yeah.
So they still Atlanta supports their independent artists. So although we might not have a Gucci or Waka or a Future the next 10 years, 2 years or 3 years,
Yeah.
there's still going to be that up and coming rapper that's always going to have that face. Like Young Thug came out of nowhere. Young Thug came out of nowhere.
But there's going to have to be. But
So you're
there
essentially
has to
finding
be.
the hot rapper. You're essentially
It's always
finding the guy who's hot for
It's
5
always the
seconds.
next guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Atlanta's going to have to find its next T.I. or Jeezy in order to have like a face. Because after that, if you don't, then it's just then it becomes it's always who's the next guy.
Well,
Yeah.
Sure, but I think that's valuable to the genre. I mean, like finding the next guy is like kind of honing the next sound of hip hop. And I think that's what's happening in Atlanta. I think there's a lot of innovation there. I think the development is happening in LA, no doubt. Yes, the producers are here. This is how you become mainstream, like through the LA funnel. But Atlanta is undeniably like what is the sound that we're listening to. Like even like, you know, Mustard is influenced by what's happening in Atlanta.
True.
You know, Drake's flow has changed dramatically since, you know, Migos happened.
Right.
Like what's becoming popular is the sound that's coming out of Atlanta. So it's hard, like, so their influence, I guess, feels undeniable, which is why I put them above LA. But I mean, LA is always where you're gonna make the money. And I mean, like, it's hard because like Kendrick is here and everyone knows how I feel
It's
about
only just not about money though.
Yeah.
It's not. It's about there's a diversity.
Like
It's about this
influence.
artistry though.
Right.
It's
There
about
is a
this
lot of
artistry that's
diversity.
coming out of it though.
But you can't say that there's no artistry in Atlanta because we have Future. You
But
know?
it's homogeneous though. It all sounds the same. It's all the same
I mean, you're
stuff.
going to need like.
To me, Future and Young Thug are two distinctive artists. You can tell a Young Thug track from a Future track.
Yeah, but they both have that same like raspy digital
But
like auto
but
tune
it's still
sound.
unique though. It's distinctive. You can tell a Young Thug track from a Future track. Anything.
kind of.
You're
Just like you
gonna
can
need
tell-
someone to come out. You're gonna need whoever
like
the
you-
next Outcast is gonna be is gonna have to come out and just blow
Yeah.
your perception of what Atlanta is. I see what you're saying. Cause like
I feel like if Atlanta is still being influential in hip hop, like as long as we keep that Atlanta face in there, Atlanta's still always gonna grow. Because everything is still like the development stages are still coming out of Atlanta as far as the music. DJ Mustard's whole that's why LA is popular right now because DJ Mustard's whole sound is influenced by Atlanta sound.
But he's done it on a pop level though. He's doing it on a pop level. Like there ain't no Mustard beats on Kendrick's album. Like there ain't no Mustard beats on our Future's album. Like there's like Mustard has his influence, don't get me wrong, but he by far does not make up what LA sounds like right now. He makes up what we sound like
It's
to
half of it.
Atlanta.
It's half of it.
He makes up what we sound like to New York, but I mean, as far as when it get back down to it, and we're listening to like these super dope beats like Schoolboy and stuff like that, like
that's come from TDE.
That's not DJ Mustard though. Like, you know what I mean? So you have to look at it on like, I don't know, you have to look at it on a broad spectrum where it's like qualitative as opposed to quantitative. You know what I mean? Like there's so much more. LA's offering so much more right now than Atlanta.
Variety.
I agree with that. I mean, LA is full of variety. Like all the artists you mentioned, there's definitely a breadth coming from LA that Atlanta I don't think has to offer right now. But it's, I guess, like, I don't know. I'm focused on the money. It's hard to not focus on the money.
Yeah.
But I definitely see what you're saying. I also see what you're saying in that like Atlanta is influential, but
They are.
it's, you know, I guess like I don't know. I don't think that like one has to be one or two.
I think it's perspective. You could talk me into either, depending on certain points you want to make.
Word.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's perspective, but I think it's factual too. Only because when you go back for the whole decade, you can see everything that Atlanta has done as far as in music. There's been copycats with Cali Swag District. When the whole dance thing was going on, you had D4L, you had them Franchise Boys, and then that's when you had Cali Swag. They try to find their sound with the whole dance.
Word.
So everything that Atlanta has did for the past 10 years, copycats they've been trying to actually get their foot in the door. Like when New York fell off, Joe made Lean Back.
Yeah.
Make it rain.
Lean Back, and when Lil Jon was making everybody was jumping on Lil Jon track. Everybody was from Too Short coming on to down south to get on Lil Jon track.
Word.
Tune in. No me and Jaystylestv and friends gon' be at your house about it. Hey, I'm D Keys, aka DK.